Is 500 Atom, which is the native token of Cosmos, good enough for me? Even though nothing I say is financial advice, I would say yes in my case, because if let's say Atom were to go to the price of $200, at that point, 500 Atom would theoretically at that point be worth $100,000. Now, some people may be thinking that, okay, homes are very expensive and all this type of stuff. I'm totally aware of that. But keep in mind, many people that I know out there, including myself, we're not only just holding Atom. So then let's say if, there's a fully fledged bull run and one of the pieces in my portfolio were to, in theory, let's say do around a 43x from here, I don't think it's that bad. And again, around a 43x from here when it comes to Atom, the price at that point would be around $200. When it comes to the idea of around a 43x from here, people may think it's like, oh, a little bit bad in some cases because they're looking for something that could maybe do like a, 1000x or whatever because it's a microcap type of thing. But really, this isn't a microcap, right? This is not something that I would be looking for if I was into microcaps, but I'm not looking for microcaps. What I'm looking for is a project that isn't, again, a microcap, but at the same time, not some random dinosaur that could maybe do a 3 or 4x from here. Nah, I'm not going to focus on something like that. The way to take a look at Atom is that, yeah, sure, it feels more risky to me than Bitcoin, even though there's always going to be risk, but it's not unnecessary risk like a meme coin that is like a random microcap. That's the way to take a look at it. So it's a good in-between for me. And not to mention, when it comes to $200, it doesn't even seem that crazy to begin with because if it were to go to that price, considering current circulating supply, at that point, market cap would be around $78 billion. We got to think about this. Let's say during a fully fledged bull run, Bitcoin went to the price of around $300,000, and let's say the market cap at that point is around $6 trillion. And let's say, somewhere along there, Ethereum went to a market cap of around $2 trillion. Let's say combined, right? That market cap, just from those two projects alone, in this make-believe scenario, became $8 trillion, again, combined. Now, in a trillion, that's 1,000 billion, and in a billion, that's 1,000 million. So imagine, let's say out of 8,000 billion, just from two projects, are we saying around 78 billion can't flow to this? And not to mention as well, we take a look at something like Dogecoin, which back in 2021, so we're talking about years ago at this point, that reached a market cap of over $80 billion. And again, I feel like the factors are a lot more bullish right now than when compared to back then. Back in 2021, during the peak of that bull run, around 300 million crypto owners. Now we have over 600 million according to Crypto.com research. I just kind of feel like this bull run could be a lot better. And if many people are saying that, oh, during this bull run, Dogecoin is going to go around 150 billion or whatever, I don't think something like, again, around 78 billion for something as special as Atom, I don't think it's too much to ask for. Now, of course, only time will tell, but I don't see why Cosmos would be a bad project by any means because I think it's very special. And let me explain very briefly what Cosmos is all about because I think it's a very interesting project. Because if we take a look at Cosmos, right, the Cosmos blockchain utilizes a proof-of-stake consensus algorithm called Tendermint. Now, people may be thinking, okay, who cares about this? Well, here's the thing. Tendermint actually created a toolkit called the Cosmos SDK. SDK stands for Software Development Kit. But even besides that, if we take a look at this, what this does is that it allows, application-specific blockchains to be built. People may be thinking, okay, who cares? Oh, these Cosmos-based blockchains must be bad or whatever. No, I disagree with that because take a look at the Cosmos-based blockchain so far. We take a look at, for instance, right, Cronos, right? We've all heard about Crypto.com and Cronos, of course, very fantastic. Not to mention as well, we take a look at the BNB chain. Now, I think a lot of people are like, whoa, because this is very impressive in my opinion. Again, we take a look at the BNB chain. People love BNB, people love Binance, the exchange, of course. So I think as I begin to say this, I think it's very impressive. Again, these Cosmos-based blockchains, not to mention as well, one of these Cosmos-based blockchains also includes something like Kava and also even Luna Classic. Now I get it. Luna Classic, pretty much went off into, the abyss, right? But the way I view it is that when it comes to, at one point at least, it was considered good, and not to mention, many people still believe in it. But even besides that, when we take a look at something like Cosmos and its Cosmos-based blockchains, I think, man, it is very impressive. And keep in mind, there's over 50 Cosmos-based blockchains already. So this is something that's very fantastic in my opinion. But some people may be wondering, okay, what's the glue, so to speak, that connects all of these Cosmos-based blockchains together? And that is something called IBC. Now, IBC stands for Inter-Blockchain Communication Protocol. I get it, it's a little bit complicated, but again, I just refer to it as IBC because it's just a lot easier. But even besides that point, any blockchain out there that has IBC enabled can easily transfer assets to and from any other blockchain that has IBC enabled. So it's really good right there. And when I take a look at Cosmos, sure, it may not be the coolest or most interesting project. It may not be the project with the most hype or the most fans, but it's such a no-brainer pick for me. I mean, if someone said, hey, would you rather acquire this or like Dogecoin or Shiba Inu? Hands down, it's going to have to be something like Atom. I mean, why would I do that? First of all, Dogecoin, Shiba Inu, way bigger market cap than Atom. Not to mention, Cosmos, I think, is actually trying to make an impact in a massive way when it comes to the space overall. Because if we assume, right, that there's going to potentially be more blockchains moving forward, if we assume that, let's say, this space is going to grow, which I do believe hypothetically will, I think it would only be fair to assume that something like Cosmos could do better too, because if, let's say, there's more Cosmos-based blockchains, this is something that really, I think, could be so amazing, especially in the long term. You know, many people like to say, oh, Bitcoin's going to be around in 10, 20, 30 years. I get that. I think it will too. But then when it comes to something like Cosmos, I don't see why it won't be around in that time frame as well, because it's so amazing and the use case is there. This is just my perspective. However, again, only time will tell, but at least we can take a look at some clues when it comes to the past, right? Because I can't take a look into the future. I can only take a look at the present and the past. And here's the thing. Altcoins usually, as a worst case scenario, historically speaking, they've been known to peak around 18 months after a Bitcoin halving event. Now, based on the last one, which happened in April of last year, and of course I'm talking about the last Bitcoin halving event, again, if we add 18 months from then, that's around October this year, which may not seem like too far off actually, because again, we're pretty much halfway through 2025, and a lot of people are saying that, oh, you know, even though that may seem like a short time frame, they may also be under this mindset that, hey, you know what, that may not be enough time. Well, here's the way I view it. In the world of cryptocurrencies, this is not like the world of gold or, you know, S&P 500 where, let's say, a 10x or 20x is going to take like a very long time. We're not talking about that. Take a look at literally the biggest cryptocurrency of all time, Bitcoin. Take a look at how fast that recovered. Now, of course, I get it. It has slight pullback, but before that, right, when it had that good pump, take a look at how fast that moved. And that's literally the biggest project out there that we have as of right now when it comes to cryptocurrencies. So are we saying that an altcoin, which Atom is, with a way smaller market cap, during a fully fledged type of altcoin season, can't make big moves too, but let's say even in a much better way because it doesn't take that much volume to make it move like, you know, maybe a 5x when compared to Bitcoin, which I don't think could do a 5x from here during this bull run. You know what I mean? So I think it's a no-brainer, and I don't think that is like, you know, too short of a time frame. But even besides that, that is not an accurate representation, or should I say like an accurate thing guaranteed this time around, because that's just based off history, right? If we consider that, I think that it may not necessarily exactly happen in October, because first of all, many altcoins do peak at different times, not to mention each cycle, you know, the sentiment's going to be different. So whether or not it peaks in October, November, December, you know, maybe January of next year, whatever the time frame is, what can I do? That is just controlling myself, and just by acquiring, holding, and just waiting, that's it. I'm not telling anyone to buy Atom, but because I cannot control the market, so what can I do instead? Just control myself. Again, the market is going to wake up when it wants to wake up when it comes to altcoins. I can't demand it to wake up. So then what can I do? Again, just by staying in the projects that I believe in a moment in which it does wake up, hypothetically, at that point, I'll be prepared. So that's what I'm doing. And when people like to ask me, oh, is 500 Atom good enough? Well, it depends on the case-by-case basis, of course. Some people may think it's not too much. A lot of people may think it's a lot. But the way you take a look at it, I think that's a very good amount for me, even though nothing I say is financial advice. But $200 when it comes to Atom during this bull run wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. And make sure to subscribe if you gain value from this video. Greatly appreciated. It's been Lee the Captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm a peace. Bye.